a privilege to introduce our guest speaker for tonight's service, Mr. Thurl Bailey, or Big T as some call him. Mr. Bailey attended North Carolina State University and was a leader in the Wolfpack Cinderella team who made a run to win the 1983 NCAA championship. Under the direction of Coach Jimmy Valvano, Mr. Bailey was the leading scorer and rebounder. The Utah Jazz selected him as the 7th pick of the 1983 NBA draft, and he remained there until 1991. From 1991 until 1994, he played for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He spent 16 years total playing basketball in the NBA and European leagues. Beyond basketball, Mr. Bailey is a multi-dimensional man. He lives with his wife Cindy and their children in Utah, and he is involved in everything from acting to singing to broadcasting to serving mankind. Mr. Bailey, it is an honor to have you here with us tonight. Thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule to make our night so special.
This is working. You guys hear me all right? Get my deep voice. Good. HCA class of 2013. Wow. It's an honor for me to be here. I got permission to break protocol today and not to stand behind. I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes. The main reason is because that microphone comes to about my belly button. Not pretty. Not pretty. I do want to talk to you because none of us saw me play. If you're lucky and your parents are state playing, they may have told you a little bit about it. They may have told you a little bit about the championship run in 1983. But this isn't about me today. This is about you. I don't know how much wisdom I can impart on you in the next few minutes. If anything, I'd like for you to just think a little bit differently when you walk out here. Maybe there's some things that in my life and gone on in a word that I use a lot, one of my favorite words, in my journey. Because that's what this is. This is just a stop in your journey. And so I hope that there's something that I can say that may relate with you. This is just a little more information. All the information you've got to this point is going to help you when you walk outside these doors and you take that next step. And you're going to have an epiphany. You may have already had it. You might have those moments, and you will have those moments as you're out in the world that something just comes to you. Very unusual time. It happened to me. As you know by now, I played a little basketball in my day. And I had a chance to go overseas and play in Italy. And I was driving from Como, Italy, which is in northern Italy. I was driving from Como, Italy to Lugano, Switzerland. I would cross the border to go for different things. This was my first time in Europe, so I would mainly go because there was a McDonald's over it. I know this mic is going out a little bit. I hope this is coming across okay. But I would go across the border many times. I'd have to stop border patrol people with AK-47s, and you had to stop. So you had to stop and you had to show them your passport, show them your visa. Every single time you stopped, they would ask you 3 questions. And I had gone through that process many times before. Really didn't think anything about it. But this one particular day, I was at a crossroads in my life. I was thinking about some things that were going on in my life, and I had to make some decisions in my life. So I remember crossing the border, and right before I did, the Border Patrol would ask 3 questions, the same 3 questions. The first question was, how many years? Thank you. Give me a high five. I just can't help it. But when I got to the border, that particular day, they asked the same question. The first question they asked me was, where have you been? After I answered that question, they asked me, well, why are you here? And before they would let me give me my rite of passage to the other country, the last question was, where are you going? Listen, I heard these questions many times before, but I got across the border and I pulled over to the side of the road. Because it's hit me that those three questions are probably three of the most important questions in your life, in my life. Where have you been? Which really, to me, speaks of my past. It speaks of all those things that have happened in my past, good and bad, that have gotten me to this point. The second question, why am I here? Boy, that speaks to purpose, doesn't it? What is my purpose? Because you know we all have a purpose. All those decisions we make, all those things that we do in our life, comes to the kind of legacy we want to leave. And where are you going? Where do you see yourself? As you close your eyes and envision the next 2 or 3 years, where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself doing? What kind of impact do you see yourself having on the world? So I want you to remember those 3 important questions. Where have I been? Why am I here? And where am I going? I also think it's important that you know a little bit about me. Because I wasn't so much different than you. There are a lot of people in this room who have gone through a lot of the things that you have. And some of the things you haven't, because they've gone through it. But listen, I make no bones about it. I didn't always play basketball. I was different. Listen, at 13 years old, I was 6 feet 5 inches tall. How different is that? I wasn't playing any sports. My grades were really good. My mom didn't play. She's from North Carolina. So she stressed education in our home. She said, son, you better not ever bring home a C or below in this house. She said, because a C is what? A C is average, son, and you're not average. Never brought home a C or below. So I knew education was important. I grew up right outside of Washington, D.C., and I can tell you that being 6 feet 5 inches tall at that young age is different, especially when you don't play sports. And it's not anything new. Maybe all of us can look at ourselves and say, you know what, I wore glasses, or I was a little different than most people, and they treated me a little bit differently. So maybe we all have something that we can look back on and say, you know, it was a struggle for me for a long time, because I didn't really belong to any particular group, right? Didn't hang out with the athletes. You know, I wasn't quite nerdy enough to hang out with the guys with 4 or 5 pens in their pocket, you know. And so I wasn't really accepted in any group. So I felt like a loner at times. I remember the first day. I remember walking through my living room, and my dad was sitting there on my mom's green couch, about the color of your gowns. My mom loved that couch too. She had this real thick, clear, you couldn't spill on mom's couch, right? So I'm sitting there, my dad's sitting there watching a basketball game on TV. Remember the TV, I closed my eyes, we had this Zenith. What? We had this beautiful Zenith. So you guys, you got the wide screens, you got high definition. I remember that TV. It had the antennas that came off the back. Are you following me at all? We had these antennas that came off the back. Matter of fact, I think the knob was broken. We had to turn the channel with what? Some pliers. Sometimes my dad would make me stand there and hold the antenna and take it in place where the picture could come in clear. I tell kids, I said, the TV was, not the TV was black and white, but the picture was black and white. We had high def too. You had some Reynolds wrap, aluminum foil, you put it on that antenna. Don't you worry about that kind of stuff, right? Way beyond technology. It's really awesome. I sat down next to my dad. I didn't know anything about basketball, but I saw something that was so incredible. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. I was asking my dad about what was going on, but I saw this one guy who just amazed me. He did something so incredible I didn't think human beings could do. I'm going to tell you why that impressed me throughout my life. I saw this guy. First of all, let me describe him to you. He had an afro that came out here. He had that basketball in his hand, looked like a grapefruit, guys. And he was moving that thing around, and he went down the basketball court, and that wind swooped his afro back. And I thought he was like a superhero, but he got to the other end, he went up over 2 or 3 guys, man. And he did something so incredible. I had never seen anything like it in my life. And you've been there before, come on. You've seen someone do something, perform something, say something. It got your heart beating a little bit faster. Got your heart just pumping. You know what that is? I call it, we all have this pilot light inside of us that's always lit. But there are certain things that come along in our lives that burst that thing into a big flame. And that's what happened to me that day. I said, Dad, that guy's awesome, isn't he? I didn't know who he was. I said, yeah, son, that's one of the greatest players in professional basketball. I said, who is he? He said, son, that's Dr. J. I didn't know. I said, Dad, doctors can play professional basketball? That's when I learned what Dr. J was. Listen, I know it sounds silly, but after I learned about Dr. J, I wanted to be him. Because that little pump in my heart was telling me something. I don't know what yours tells you when you get really excited about something, but one of the things I want to talk to you about today is passion. For you to succeed out there in that world, you have to have a passion for something. A lot of times your heart will get pumping a little bit and you'll say, man, I wish I could do that. Well, that gets me, man, it gets me really excited. And then it may die down, may go away after 10, 15 minutes. But for a lot of us, it stays here. And it turns into, I'm going to do that. Listen, I wanted to be Dr. J. I know it sounds silly, but nobody was going to stop me from being it. I started growing my afro out. I asked my dad if he'd teach me how to play basketball. He was more than happy. We didn't have one of those portable hoops, but he went outside and he found this garbage can that was around, and he hop off with a saw and he nailed it to the house. Pulled up some weeds, I had my court out there. He didn't even bring a basketball on the first day. You see, my dad was the kind of dad, and so was my mom. When they were teaching us something that they knew that we wanted to learn, they would slip their own little lessons in. You have parents like that, don't you? They put their own little lessons in. My dad said, son, come here. I walked over to my dad, and he said, I want to bring the basketball out in due time. But I want to tell you something. If you want to play this game and play it effectively, you've got to be able to do this consistently. I didn't know what he was doing. He said, son, that's called preparation. If you are in this position when you're playing the game, I'm going to teach you how to shoot, I'm going to teach you how to rebound, but this position says you're prepared, you're ready. And he starts to talk, rattling off why preparation was so important in my life. Preparing for, even though I may not like school every single day and schoolwork, but there really is a meaning behind it. You're preparing yourself for the world. So I started to get it. He said, you can't do anything effectively if you're not prepared. So I got it. Then he brought me out, and he took his foot and he drew a line across the dirt. He said, I'm going to teach you how to shoot free throws today. I'm going to quote my dad. He said, son, one of these days, you may be shooting a game-winning free throw in front of 20,000 people in someone else's arena. And all those people are going to be yelling, you know, you've been there, are going to be yelling things to make you miss that shot. But because you've prepared, in another word my dad used to use, and because you're focused, you're going to want to be the one on that line. You need to focus, my dad called it hoop. Focus on your goal. Didn't even get to one of his speeches about focusing on goals, right? It didn't have anything to do with basketball, but I got it. He said, you know what? You're going to step up on that line because you're so prepared. You're going to shoot that shot and you're going to miss. There are going to be times you're going to miss it. But you need to be the one who wants to be on that line. You ever watch a game and the coach takes a guy out because you don't want him to get fouled? No, don't foul me. Take me out, coach. Because he wasn't prepared to be on the line. Shaquille O'Neal. But he talked about preparation and focus. So I got all that. My first year playing organized because I knew if I was going to be like Dr. J, I had to play organized basketball. So I walked in that day. I remember the first day I walked in the gym, I saw a poster on the gym door that talked about basketball tryouts. I walked into the gym door, and there were like 40 other guys trying out for the team. I looked good too. I had my shorts on. Come on now. I had my tank top on. I walked in there, and Coach Gray lines us all up, takes us through these drills, and I couldn't do it. They had one where you took the ball and you hit it, and it came back. Hit it. I hadn't gotten to that one yet. But we went through the drills, hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I wasn't very good. And I was excited to come back the next day. Because on the wall was going to be a piece of paper called a cut sheet. I ran off the bus, I ran down the hall, looked at that piece of paper, didn't see my name on it. Wow. I'm looking at all these little guys give each other low fives. And I couldn't listen. I was young, but that was the first time in my young life I'd ever failed at something. And failure hurts, doesn't it? Failure is painful because you've worked hard. Hopefully you prepared yourself. I cried all day long. Listen, I'm in the 7th grade. I'm 6'4" tall. And I just got cut from the team. But I always had my dirt court in the yard. Whenever I was out there by myself, before the sun went down, I had the basketball. There's always 5 seconds left on the clock. We're down by a point, and I had the ball. I was always Dr. J. We're back my 8th grade year, 6 feet 7 inches tall. There's a poster on the gym door talking about basketball tryouts. And when you fail at something, you start to think a little bit, right? Whether it really is for you, or you should move on to something else. Because nobody likes failure. You don't like to feel that. But I walked in there, because all those things we've been taught is not to give up. Walk in there, do your best, prepare for it. I walked in there, Coach Gray puts us through all these drills. Next day I come back and look at the piece of paper on the gym door. Guess what? My name wasn't there again. Cut second time. I even grew from 6'7". About this time when you failed at something twice, you start to think that you need people around you that are going to support you and give you good advice. I walked away from the cut list. Coach Gray came out of his office, called my name, Thurl. Turned around, he walked up to me. I remember that day. He walked up to me, crossed his arms like this. He looked up at me like this. And he said, "Son, you're wasting my time. Don't come out for my team next year because I don't have time to teach you how to play the game. I'm looking for guys who can help me win this year." And I got it. I didn't break down and cry in front of the guy. I walked away knowing that I probably wouldn't play organized basketball, but I had my dirt court. Got my chores done, my homework, I was out on that court. My 9th grade year came around, and I knew basketball wasn't really going to be for me. But something happened, which is going to happen in your lives. Opportunity came. An opportunity came my way. And I had to make a decision whether I was going to take that opportunity or let it go by. I found out that Coach Gray had gone to another school. A new coach was there. I didn't know him. He didn't know me from Adam. But I had to decide what was going to take me back into that gym for a third shot. I was better. I was a little better. I grew a little bit more. I was 6'9" in the 9th grade. What would take you back? Whatever arena you choose, and you fail twice, what would take you back into those doors? For me, listen, I had to know. I had to know. I walked in there, Coach Cole was the coach. He lines us all up, puts us through the drills. It was a whole different atmosphere. He'd come shake our hands and he'd give us credit for doing things really well. He came up to me and said, "Thurl, you're a good shot blocker." "Thanks, Coach." Big guard, shorter guy, he'd do that. Put my hands up, the ball would hit my hand. It's a block shot, basketball. So I left that day. I didn't know. Listen, when you failed, you know how it feels, right? So I walked up to that list when I came to school the next day and I looked at that thing. And I can tell you that it was the most exciting day of my life. because there was my name sitting up there on the list. Matter of fact, I thought I was kind of cool. My name was the first one on the list, thinking, yeah, he thought of me first. It was alphabetical order, but it was up there. Listen, I knew I wasn't very good. I knew I was just beginning. But what changed my life, young people, is the fact that when I came back the next day, the coach calls me to his office and he sits me down. And he says, Thurl, your grades are great, you're doing fine. I don't know how much you love basketball. But if you want to be really good at it, you've got a lot of work to do. And if you're willing, I will come in 1 hour before the team practices to work with you, and I will stay 1 hour after. This guy barely knew me. But he was willing to give up his time for me, and I wondered why. He looked me in my eyes. He said, listen, son, I see potential in you. I see potential in you. You don't even see in yourself. I committed that day, not just to basketball, but I committed to a lot of things off the basketball court, in the classroom, with the folks I hang out with. Committed. Didn't play much in junior high school. Coach said, Thurl, you're going to start on this team. Oh, man, you know how important it is. You want to start in 5. My parents at the game, my first time ever playing organized basketball. Coach said, we need to get the first possession of every game. Coach, I'm a new man, Coach. I'm 6'9". Every game I'd be out at half court. My opponent was always somewhere in here. I'd always walk up on him and say, how you doing, little fella? He'd look at me and frown. Sometimes he'd wave at his parents. I'd wave at his parents. Right before the referee would come and throw a ball up, I said, see this jump ball? Don't even think about it. So the ref would throw the ball up high. This guy would jump up. I wouldn't jump at all. I'd go up on my tiptoes. I'd tap the ball to my teammate. We got every first possession that year. Coach was proud of me. He'd stand up, call it timeout. Take me out the rest of the game. Okay. I averaged 2.3 seconds per game in junior high school. I didn't care. My mom was like, that's my baby now, that's my baby. Got the jump ball. I didn't care. I went to high school, wasn't good enough to play varsity. Played JV. My last year of high school was when things started to happen. I got a scholarship. With a scholarship, I knew my parents couldn't afford to send us to college, but I had basketball as a tool. I had my education, those books, as a tool that I used to get to the next level. Not so much unlike you. Chose North Carolina State over a lot of schools. My second year at NC State, Coach Norm Sloan, coach that recruited me left. They brought in some little Italian guy. We had no idea who he was. He walked in. He walks in. And we're all disgruntled because our coach just left. We're all sitting in chairs like these and we're slouched down and our arms are crossed and we don't know what to do with our lives. And this coach walks in and he says, hi, I'm the coach, Jimmy Valvano. You guys can call me Jimmy B. Listen, I know how you're feeling right now, but I want to tell you about my dream, he said. Then he throws some weird comment. He says, I know I'm going to win a national championship. So how do you put it? He says, I know I'm going to win. Is this the team? Maybe. I don't know. But before the work is done, you guys will help me paint that picture. Which is another point I want to leave you with. You all are leaders. You spent all this time building yourself and putting yourself in leadership positions. Great leaders know how to lead their teams. They know how to make them see and help them paint the picture, the ultimate goal. Coach B did that. What else do great leaders do? They're not afraid to do something different, to step outside their comfort zone. Coach Jim Valvano, one of the first practices we ever had, took us into Reynolds Coliseum. And a practice, he walks in with a ladder. He takes that ladder, he puts it under the hoop, pulls out a pair of scissors and says, guys, hey, we're going to practice cutting down the nets. Who does that? He said, come here, Thurl. Here, take these scissors, got a gold pair of scissors. Walk up here, cut your piece down. Sydney, Derek, and I'll go up last. I'll cut it down, I'll put it over my neck. You guys are going to pick me up in this arena, and you're going to run around, you're going to scream like you're champions. Guys, awkward. Awkward. We did it twice a month. People would stick their head in the gym wondering what the world's going on in there. But I can tell you, after the second time, maybe the third or fourth, we started to get into it. We were running up the stairs, we were shouting like we were champions, we were throwing Coach B in the air and catching him. I think we dropped him once. But we were into it, we were practicing. We didn't really know it. You know, we just thought we were doing something crazy, and this was part of Jimmy B's plan. In 1983, if you haven't seen it, Google it. Because that NC State Championship was more than just a game. It was a great journey, first of all. But it was a culmination, preparation, focus, great leadership, earning your own luck, believing in each other, believing in yourself. After that championship, I didn't think I was good enough to play in the NBA. The championship helped me get drafted a high number. But I was 6 feet 11 inches tall and 197 pounds. Wasn't sure I could make it. Utah Jazz select me, I'm sitting on the bench. Coach Frank Lady's coaching. He calls my name to get in the game. I'm a scared young rookie. I walk into the game, and that night we're playing the Philadelphia 76ers. Before the game started again, I got a tap on my shoulder. A hand reached out. Thurl, congratulations on the great college season. Welcome to the NBA. It was Dr. J. Dr. J. I was standing on the court, the same guy who I idolized on that black and white Zenith TV set. I knew a lot about Dr. J. His fingers were an inch longer than mine. I read somewhere where he had an extra knuckle on each finger. I was about to find out. I didn't shake his hand right away, I looked at him. Listen, I shook that man's hand. I played 16 years of pro basketball. A lot of great things happened to me. Listen, Shaquille O'Neal fell on me once, I thought it was awesome. They're trying to help him up. No, Shaq, stay down here, buddy. Michael Jordan. The best player that ever played the game. I know sometimes we don't like to hear that, but listen, I played against Mike in college and in the pros. When you played against Michael Jordan, you had to practice. You had to. Matter of fact, I had to keep from getting caught up in it when I'm playing against him. I couldn't let coach see me. Mike would do something like, oh. I couldn't let coach see me do that. I didn't want to miss an opportunity though. If you have old Michael Jordan posters, you unroll that thing. You look in the background. You're going to see me doing my leading. The greatest moment in my career was when I shook Dr. J's hand at midcourt. It was a part of the journey. And this is what I will leave with you. Have passion. Find your passion. Because whatever you want, whatever it is, it's out there. It's waiting for you to find it. Don't let that pilot light just sit there. Find something that will help that heart just beat a little bit faster. You just can't wait to get started on it. Focus. It's going to take a lot more focus now when you're out there to deal with what this world has. Every choice you make is going to be a culmination of all these people who've been talking to you. All these things that you've learned throughout your whole life. Every time you decide to turn on the TV, somebody's going to be in your ear. Watch a movie, listen to a song. The lyrics may be speaking to you or may not be. Write your own song. And last but not least, the most important thing you could ever do in your life is to serve. Not just for yourself, Because when you serve, it's not just serving for yourself. It's serving for God. But that is the most important thing that you will be able to do, is what you offer someone else. It's what you can say to someone else that can then make their day a little brighter. Make them make the right choice. Give them a helping hand when they need it. I'm so proud of you. Everyone in here is proud of you. Congratulations. This is your day. Enjoy your lives and take care of each other. Thank you very much.